Welcome back to the World Championship, ladies and gentlemen. As you have noticed, we've swapped out Crepo for Monte Cristo and his rose-colored glasses, along with upgrading to double lift from the false prophet crumbs for our next 3 games. Let's take a look at our next matchup. It is Brazil's KaBuM eSports versus Korea's NaJin White Shield. NaJin are looking to secure a spot in the quarterfinals. With a win here, it will get them 1 step closer to doing so, but it's not a mathematical guaranteed yet. Let's talk about KaBuM. They're the guys with the uphill struggle. 0-3 in groups. I think they've impressed in some ways, but they just have been strategically outclassed by many of their opponents.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty impressed with Tinones. Like, he's a pretty strong mid laner, and especially his Syndra I thought was like pretty notable. But the one sore thumb I guess I would have to say about KaBuM is Lep. Like, every time he's playing these kind of like mage tops, he's played Rumble, Lulu, and Kayle so far. They all seem kind of like not his style, or he just can't really respond well to ganks. They're all no escapes, and once he dies one time in the lane, the team capitalizes on that, and they just camp the hell out of him.
I actually completely agree. Actually, Lep's old screen name back in Brazil was literally the name Aurelia. He actually played that in the wild card, did well with that. Like, just follow Wicked's footsteps and just play the champion your best at. I also want to give props to an individual player in Minerva. So I have a stat line for you guys. Let's rank the 80 carries at Worlds in CS differential at 10. Number 1, Imp. Number 2, Deft. Number 3, Reckless. Number 4, Uzi. Number 5, Name. Number 6, Minerva. He is next in that list of laning prowess. Like, he's doing quite well. This team is full of individually good players. They just can't put it together, and that's just so unfortunate to see.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was impressive to see that he was doing well against Sneaky. He was doing well against Tabs. I mean, that's definitely, that says a lot, actually.
It is impressive. On the other side of the rift, it is NaJin Shield, who are, of course, looking to get 1 step closer to that guaranteed spot in the quarterfinals. A win here helps them along that path. Going 4-0 in groups is a definite strong start. Freak, you're my numbers, man.
Yeah.
How important is this to them?
So if they win here, the worst they can do is a 3-way tie for first. That's if they lose to Cloud9. Am I doing the teams right?
Cloud9 and Alliance.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I keep getting C and D backwards because both groups are so awesome and everyone's so good there. Yeah, the worst they can do is a 3-way tie for first if NaJin Shield wins here. KaBuM, on the same side, if they lose, they can still 3-way tie for second, theoretically, but they'd have to win out at that point. But yes, right? At the very worst, forcing a tiebreaker is a great way to start for Shield.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, for Shield, we'll see what they can do. They're playing Alliance later today, so we'll see how focused they are for this matchup. We're about to head off to the casters to get us into the game, but first, we're going to hear NaJin White Shield and their opponents talk about how the team is performing.
White Shield just ripping through both Cloud9 and their base here.
And they take command of their group now.
I think NaJin White Shield's one of the best teams here. I think they have opportunity to the finals.
네, 상대를 무시하는 건 아니지만 조금 쉽게 할 수 있을 것 같아요, 경기를.
They pick high-pressure champions, mainly from the mid lane and the jungle, something that is really fast at doing objectives, really good at vision control.
Flash down on Froggen with vision control. It will be very hard for Alliance to stop this bear.
They have a good game plan. They go into the game wanting to do X, Y, and Z. They went into the game against Alliance with a plan of countering mid-zillion, but Alliance didn't play mid-zillion, so then they weren't ready.
카붐과 C9이랑 할 때는 저희 생각대로 좀 된 것 같고, 얼라이언스 팀과 할 때는 초반에 너무 게임이 약간 좀 기울고 시작해서 힘든 면이 있었는데.
They slow down what? There is Froggen able to pick up first blood, shot and a dive in with the ultimate going. So goes the Gorilla. It's a double kill for Froggen.
There's definitely some mistakes they're making, and if we can keep capitalizing on them, we should be able to win.
실수가 좀 많았어요. 3경기 동안은 실수가 좀 많았고, 지금부터 남은 경기들은 조금 더 저희 팀 색깔을 보여줄 수 있었으면 좋겠어요.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just heard it there from NaJin Shield. Not going to make the mistakes like they did against Alliance. And I'm pretty sure this game they are going to be on a mission, because that could almost, as Trevor said, secure them in that top spot.
Well, we've got 2 games from them, and the second one is going to be that rematch with Alliance, so they have another chance to
It's going to
make
be
a more clean game.
Big day for them, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you have just joined us, I am Lee Dearman Smith, and I'm joined by Martin DeVicio-Linger and Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler as we do head into the next 3 matches.
And I mean, we have had some insane games today. KaBuM now here, can they make the upset against NaJin White Shield? It's going to be tough, but if they manage to do it, that's going to be another epic game.
It's been a pretty wild day, so who knows what could happen. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for this matchup, though. Starting out on the blue side from Brazil, it is KaBuM eSports. That means in the top lane is Lep, Danagorn in the jungle, Tinones in the mid lane, Minerva as AD carry, and Dans on support.
And on the red side, it's NaJin White Shield from Korea. Up top is Save. In the jungle, Watch. Mid, Goong. AD carry Zephyr, and support Gorilla.
So I'm looking at this pick and ban phase for these two teams. Last time Gorilla, he got his Thresh, and he was an absolute beast. He landed so many hooks.
All 3 games so far.
Actually, yeah,
I mean,
he's been
a must
insane.
ban.
He's been insane. You have to ban it if you are KaBuM here.
My favorite part is he got the blue elixir after he got mobility
That
boots,
too.
so he could just go throw that many more hooks.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem, and also possibly looking towards maybe the top lane. You know, Save on Rise was an absolute beast last time against Cloud9.
Well, talking about champion select here, I mean, last time they played KaBuM, they got a lot of their favorite champions. The Zed for Goong, the Rise that you mentioned for Save, performed very, very well.
I feel like, though, if they want to target a player, it actually has to be Watch. Because in the game against Alliance from NaJin White Shield, he was very aggressive. Alliance managed to counter-gank him a few times. Danagorn, if he's in the right position, he might be able to do the same here.
But how do you target a man that's played already 3 different champions, 3 different games?
I mean, don't target in Champ Select, but in the game itself.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, let's stick to pick and bans first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves
there's
just
the Thresh
yet.
ban.
There is the Thresh ban and the Zed ban, of course. We've seen Goong playing that in 2 games so far, despite supposedly not being a Zed player. Maokai and Alistair targeted. We have seen Alistair sneak through a few times for the first time in this tournament today. And Janna also being taken away. So Gorilla really being focused for this matchup.
Yeah, and we can definitely kill the rumor of Goong not playing Zed. I mean, it's one of his main champions in Korea.
I know, right?
Absolutely insane on it. He has a small champion pool, but the few champions he does play, he plays them absolutely top class.
All right, so Zed is banned out. So now, Ari and Orianna, the next top 2 for him.
Zillion has snuck through the cracks, and that surely gives Tinones a sneaky peek. We'll see how that one works out for him. That's been a great champion so far, although actually had a couple of losses today.
Well, again, we have some crazy games where the Zillion, obviously, when you go full late game, the Zillion will kind of fall off in terms of damage, but he's going to bring a lot of utility. What I actually do like for KaBuM is the fact they love the laning phase, and it's where they have to win the game. Now you get the extra experience from the Zillion to maybe get a little advantage and try and snowball.
That would be great for them. Experience boost in the laning phase is very, very good. That is one of the few global passives still in the game. Zillion just holding on to his for as long as he can, but there it is again. Rise up top for Save. Lot of carry potential coming from that top lane.
Yeah, that's going to be a real problem. Of course, Nami also locked in for Gorilla, so they are leaving the AD carry choice over to KaBuM. That means that Zephyr will have the choice to go with something to maybe counter it alongside that Nami. We'll see whether he goes with Lucian or Tristana, or even at maybe a Twitch. These obviously played so well throughout those regional qualifiers.
Zephyr is fantastic on Twitch, and he has a bit of a special playstyle, but we can talk about it if he actually picks it.
I mean, the big champion for him this tournament's been Corki. That's the one he's been
We saw Deft as well with Corki yesterday. I mean, these mid-game power spike AD carries have been really popular. We see Lucian as well winning a lot of games because teams manage to snowball in the mid-game and just keep the lead and close out the game.
Speaking of Lucian, though, that has been a big champion for Minerva, already hovering over Tristo. So heading more towards that late game insurance policy here.
I would have loved a Lucian for him again, but maybe because Dance couldn't actually get his Thresh this time, which they've used together to really dominate the bottom lanes, they decided to go for the Tristana and go for focus more towards the late game.
Well, there's been a lot of pressure on Danagorn throughout this tournament. Obviously, back home, not getting quite the support because he hasn't been performing to his max. He was pressured and pulled from pillar to post, honestly, by Alliance the other day. They were camping out in that top lane on Lep, and every time he came there, it was just a little bit too late.
He seems to just kind of be lacking the overview of where the enemy jungler is or where he wants to gank, which means Danagorn is... It seems like he's always late to the counter gank, and we saw in the first game actually between these two teams, he was just sitting in the top lane waiting for Watch, but he never showed up, so it didn't actually work for him.
So what he's doing is a lot of guesswork as
Yes.
a jungler, and he's trying to predict where the routes of his enemies are just based on where they've started. But they do need more information for him to work with. They have to get some sort of, deep wards to actually see where the enemy jungler has been making their movements.
And that's where Lee Sin can be a great pick here. He's stronger than the Kha'Zix in the early game. He can go in himself once he gets the side stone, play some deep wards, and try and spot where Watch is moving, and then be ready for this counter game, because Watch is a very aggressive jungler. He wants to be in your face as much as possible.
So third game for Zephyr to be on that Corki. It's worked so well for him. Got some massive scores the other day. It does leave a couple of things open. And Freak called this one out. Lep used to be known as Aurelia. That was his name. And finally, he's actually going to play a champion that he's comfy on instead of that Rumble in the top that he's been effectively forced onto, I feel, due to the popularity in this tournament.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this Aurelia from Bleb all tournament long, waiting for him to go back to his namesake. Here they do have it, so this is going to be a good chance for KaBuM. This would be a remarkable upset. If they're able to pull this off, that would even top the craziness of the beginning of the day, and that is saying something.
That would be insane, and they have a great setup here. We have seen this before where you have Aurelia in the top lane, and it's very easy to set up ganks because people now max your E, so you get the longest stun duration. Lee Sin can then come in, and you can actually kill the Ryze. It's a matchup we saw Alliance play earlier, but Wicked was the Aurelia, and obviously he got really far ahead compared to Balls, who had to just leave the lane in the end.
Right, she's got this reliable gap closer, and Ryze is always vulnerable to top laners that have enough damage and a reliable gap closer, especially compared or comboed with a jungler like Lee Sin.
I do worry about this bottom lane setup from KaBuM. They shouldn't be able to dominate the lane the same way they've been doing on the Lucian and Thresh we have seen from Dance and Minerva the last few games.
Well, of course, we had the Lulu as the final lock-in as well for Goong in the mid lane, so we'll see how that will work out. I think it's the first Lulu in the mid lane we've seen throughout this tournament.
He played it when they had the Riven top lane as well, against Alliance, actually.
He did. And that didn't work out so well at the start, so we'll see whether this time around Tinones can get a bit of an advantage over the top of him. How do we count these two? How do we see this going? I mean, clearly coming into this one, NaJin Whiteshield, obviously massive favorites, but we've seen upsets already today.
We have, but for me, it's all about this top lane here. Can you get Lep going on Aurelia so he can take over the game? Then you have a chance, because the bottom lane should be fairly passive in itself.
Yeah, I mean, he's just had, as we've said, such a hard group stage so far. That would just do wonders for him mentally.
Well, as the teams do get ready to face off against one another, we want you guys at home to tweet us, hashtag KaBuM or hashtag NWS win. And don't forget to tweet at LOL Esports in there. Otherwise, we won't even see the damn thing. So we'll be checking your responses as soon as this game gets underway. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 4 here in Singapore on day 3. The groups have been blown wide open this morning. And we'll see whether that trend continues as KaBuM start out on the blue team up against the Korean dominance of NaJin Whiteshield.
All right, so we talked about this, top lane matchup and how there is kill pressure on this Ryze, especially when you combat with Lee Sin. But if there's no jungler intervention early, Ryze bullies Aurelia really hard. So he can push up, and as long as they have backing from Watch or some ward coverage, then don't expect Lep to jump out to an early lead or anything.
It's going to be all about Danagon and where he decides to put his focus. I mean, last time they played each other as well, it was when Danagon was just sitting top lane. He kept running top lane over and over. He can do the same here with the Aurelia pick. And I feel like he has to do it, but he needs to be careful it doesn't become too predictable for both Save and, of course, Watch, and they're ready to turn the gank around.
Well, of course, I'm sure they have a ton of other champions up their sleeves, but why show anything when you don't need to in the groups? When you're already 3-0 up, it's down to the other teams to put the pressure on you, of course. As you mentioned, we will see Alliance facing off against NaJin Whiteshield, the final game of today, and then Cloud9 have to face them tomorrow. But with both of those teams now at 2 apiece, that game will be very important for Alliance. But right here, KaBuM, can they get that first victory on the board? Started out 0-3, not the best, but they are, again, very tough group. I mean, if you look at everything that's out there, effectively the #1 team for Europe, and some would still consider the #1 team for America despite their playoffs.
Well, their lane swap is revealed by that NaJin shield late ward that they put here. So lane swap and red steel should be pretty even here. NaJin, white shield. Since KaBuM have actually started their own red with Danagorn, they might pull off a 3 buff here on Watch, actually. Looks like they've got it pretty cleanly.
So KaBuM here, because again the bottom lane wasn't too strong for them, decided actually to swap it in top lane, so they won't have the kill pressure from the Aurelia. Instead, we have to see how Watch wants to play this. Gorilla can recall and go top lane here to help save, because there's no freeze actually from KaBuM in this top side, because they're doing red buff.
So it's all in all, it's a good opening here from KaBuM.
Now they've just pinged it. They've only just realized we've lost our red buff. This is going to cause a problem, and like you said, Watch is 3 buffed. We'll see how it works out. Save is now going with that buddy system, so he's going to work alongside him. We do see the support of Dan's. He's backing off, so we'll see if he decides to go down the bottom.
And honestly, we have to commend KaBuM for their opening this game.
Fantastic.
A lot of people have been talking about the laning phase for them and how they didn't really focus as much on the strategy, but they did a great lane swap. They get Trist out of this Corki lane, and they get Aurelia away from the early range advantage of Ryze. 3 buff start. Everything's coming up KaBuM early in the game. Only thing is, they are shoving up top, so no denial of experience. Whereas down bottom here, it looks like Zepha's got a pretty good handle on that bottom wave, and the wave is going to push towards NaJin White Shield. So that's that denial of experience, and the whole wave actually going to go for Shield.
Yeah, that's a big, big problem for KaBuM here, because Save is going to get all the experience. He's going to get a lot of the farm up there in the top lane, while Lep is forced to stay in the jungle. And that's why when we see this fast push in top lane, teams move up 4 members to the top side and block away like Save and Gorilla in this situation and make sure they can get in and get all this farm.
Right, so what they have to do, since they did decide to go with this swap here and feed the red buff over to Trist for the solo lane, they need to help Aurelia shove this wave all the way into the turret to get it to bounce back and into the middle of the lane.
He's down there very early though, Lep, so he should actually be able to do it himself, or at least get some experience. Minerva though, trading with Save, and he has the red buff.
Dance comes back in, has roamed a heck of a lot in this opening start. Not going to throw anything out towards Gorilla and keep him pressured. Something we have noticed throughout so far, KaBuM's Minerva has actually traded and done very well in lane phases over the last few games.
I have to say though, down bottom, this is going to be a problem. They were not able to shove that wave into the turret, and Zepha's got complete control. We talked about the range advantage of Ryze. Corki is a mage AD carry as well, and he should have a pretty big upper hand over Lep down there, controlling this wave, keeping it just in front of his turret.
Yeah, both top laners do get a lot of experience here early on, which is the important part in these lane swaps, so none of them should be too unhappy. It's just the fact Save in this top lane, he got the first wave, he's managed to go back now, get his tier already and teleport back to lane, and nobody's denying him any farm. That is a big, big problem for KaBuM, and obviously one of the reasons the lane swap was to try and deny Save a lot of this farm here, but they should have been there with the jungler, with the top lane as well, and make sure they can zone Gorilla and Save away from this tower from the start.
Plus, Save is getting gold, not just experience here. Aurelia is having a hard time getting that gold as far as the CS is concerned. Once again, though, they call Danagorn down bottom, trying to help out with the situation. Finally, it's pushing back towards Lep.
We'll see whether he comes across. Watch is there. It is only a level 4. He's just hit. Lep's still getting the experience, though. He's not being completely kept away. He's going to pick himself up a gigantic wave here, so that should chain him up to 5. But Watch comes around, clears out the wave. He's going to get collapsed on here. Danagorn and Tinone's both coming towards him. Tinone speeds himself up, but doesn't choose to go for the kill.
So Watch actually moved down to this bottom lane because one, maybe had an option to dive onto Lep and kill him and make him lose all the farm here, or he was just ready for a counter gank in case Danagorn was there, because Zeph had pushed the lane all the way up to the tower here. But because he didn't have any vision of the enemy jungler, decided to play it safe and just run straight up mid lane here and find the pink ward.
He had to abort that mission of killing the pink ward, though, obviously because his mid laner is not there to support. Oh, tower down!
Oh, Say's in trouble. He could go down, and Minerva gets first blood. Tower hits are well controlled as well. Just like that, KaBuM in the lead.
Yeah, so instantly as Gorilla leaves this top lane here and just lets Save sit and farm alone. Nice binding from Dance, and boom, Minerva is there, picks up the first blood. very, very good start.
Let's see if they can actually defend this, though, because the 3 members looking for the dive. Danagorn in the area.
Oh, he's going to go in, gets the stun on Gorilla. In goes Danagorn. Have they got the hits? No, the tower's not trading. Safeguard comes across, tower hit goes and watch. Zephyr going deep on this one. He's going to land one ulti shot. A second one will be off cooldown any second now. Doesn't land the first bomb. Black shield from Dan saves the day.
Dance, you are a hero once again here. Now let's see, down this bottom lane. NaJin white shield.
Look in the jungle. We're going to see in Tin Owens, he's going to find Goon, but I'm not too sure it's a trade he wants to get. Instead takes a Pix and Glitterlance and will back off.
Let's take a look at this bottom turret. Looks like Zephyr's got control of it, though. They don't want to go for that dragon. Took too much time tower diving past the turrets there. They can't overextend and get any objectives. Again, a good hold from KaBuM. Calling Danagorn there to try and defend it.
Oh, we're going to see him back away from that one. Dan's tried to creep around the side, but remember, it was a triple buff start, and Dan's is sneaking around to see if he can, Safe sneaking around to see if he can get a look. Has warded out that blue buff, so we may see an invade come out from NaJin White Shield next time around.
Some very deep wards as well here for White Shield, so they're expecting Danagorn to look towards this top lane. Sadly for KaBuM and Leb, he couldn't actually afford a Sheen when he went back. They didn't get like the instant burst from the Sheen, and therefore it's going to be slightly weaker in this lane. And Safe should actually be able to pull him around a bit, which also explains why the deep wards are here for Danagorn.
And look at this. This is the prep that we're talking about for the junglers with the pink wards. Punch of pinks coming down from NaJin White Shield over this blue. They had it pre-warded. They're planning on this, but no steal going to come in, no contest. They just got vision of Danagorn, and they can work around that information.
Was not a good trade for Minerva there. Zephyr landing everything he needed. The big bomb was ready as well. Gorilla going in once again. Aqua Prism used a moment ago. Will be off cooldown any second now. There's a dark binding though. Doesn't get baited into it this time. Minerva making sure he avoids the damage that Zephyr has already with that Sheen in lane.
Yeah, Dan's though saving actually Minerva a bit here in these trades because he's landing some very good bindings on the Zephyr, who doesn't have heal just yet. Minerva does, but he decided to go back to base anyway, and Dan is left alone down his bottom lane.
One of Corki's biggest points of power is right when he gets that level 6 and these missiles that he can fire out for the harass, combined with his Sheen, he immediately chases Minerva out of the lane here, timed with the big wave. A little bit of it will go down to this turret, but looks like they will be able to defend it once again, calling Danagorn over so they can safely get this wave.
Still taking a lot of damage on this tower here. Minerva could actually have stayed in lane, waited for Danagorn to arrive, and then he could have gone back after picking up all these minions here, because that tower just took about 25% damage.
Yeah, that was a lot of burst damage on it. We'll see whether he holds on. Did have to go back though. Wasn't feeling too confident. Wasn't aware really of that watch dive that possibly could come around again, but he's in the top lane. They have swept the wards out, but he's gone back, trying to build up towards that 24, so we'll see how quickly he can get it, whether he can get going. One thing that is going on in this mid lane is KaBuM is started to bully Tin Owens a little bit here. Tin Owens keeping up in terms of farm. He is on a zillion after all, so not too hard, but every time he tries to get near one of those waves, we do see Glitterlance going straight towards him.
Yeah, and it's pretty much impossible for a Cillian in the lane against a Lulu to actually kill him. So it's going to be a bit of a farm lane.
He got that level 6 with the Sheen completed for Lep. So even though he is down in CS, keeping up in experience because of the Zillion on his team helps him out a lot.
And this is really the power spike we see from Aurelia pretty much every single game. Get your level 6, get your Sheen, and then you can start all laning the enemy top lane, and he has to back away. Let's see what happens in mid lane.
He's already used the safeguard, gets across, doesn't manage to land the kick because Goon quickly pops the wild growth, turns it back around. In comes Watch, on towards him. Tin Owens, has he already used the Chrono Shift? He has, he used it on himself. No, he just
very low.
Bomb on Goon. Goon takes a tower hit as well, but risky play by KaBuM there.
Yeah, and because he only lives because Goon missed the first glitter lance after Danagorn jumped in. Very, very risky, but they get out with their lives. Only cost them one wave shoved into the turret.
They're collapsing down the bottom lane. Watch is going to get spotted out by that pink ward. Dance tries his best to defend it, takes a void spike hit, but he holds it for now, and that will slow the collapse down and forces him away for now.
And once again, KaBuM doing a very good job in the early game. In the laning phase, got a lot of farm, especially on your AD carry and your mid laner. Like we've seen before, only slightly behind compared to NaJin White Shield, who, by the way, is a top 3 team in Korea. And KaBuM is doing well in this early game.
Absolutely representing Brazil right now. One of the few teams that didn't push towards picking up one of those Brazilian players. Of course, some of the top teams over there did. That's why they were held in such high regard when they qualified through.
Yeah, and the whole point of the wild card here, getting these teams exposure to these top Korean teams, you can see the evolution in their play just in this game throughout the group stages after those first 3 losses.
Well, that's just it. I mean, outside of obviously the 6 group games that they're going to be playing, they've been practicing with these guys. They've been here in Singapore. They've been doing scrims with them. So it gives them so much experience, invaluable experience, honestly, that you're just not going to get sitting in your own region.
Of course not. I mean, they've been scrimming teams like Fnatic and Alliance, maybe even scrimming some of the Korean teams. Let's see Lebob in his top lane. He wants to all in again.
Oh, that didn't quite work out for him. He went straight into a room prison. And Save slowing that one down. Feeling very confident. We saw how strong Save can be on Rise already in this tournament. And it's something that I feel they're going to have to slow down.
And look at these pings on Lee Sin inside the jungle from NaJin White Shield, constantly tracking Danagorn. This is why he's had a hard time on the world stage jungling.
He's just not really been able to have the impact he wants to in the early game, in pretty much every single game we have seen. Only difference though for KaBuM now is Lep has actually been able to get a standard lane going where he didn't get ganked multiple times.
Oh, Lep's trying the trade once again with Save. Coming out just about equal, both popping their ultimate there. Lep doesn't want to get too close though. That room prison will back off cooldown. There's a dart binding thrown out. Watch getting caught out by that one. Dan's actually dodging out, using that black shield to prevent the aqua prison coming through. But nonetheless, the pink ward finally goes down. He's held on though well. He's had that down there for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, and we see this fight for this pink ward pretty often, and as long as you push down the bottom lane first, so you force the enemy AD carry to stay at his own tower, you can walk in and you can clear this pink ward because you know the AD carry is stuck down farming minions.
Tino starting to feel pressure in this mid lane. Gung really putting it on him. Watch is coming around again, and he could be the difference in getting that first kill for NaJin White Shield. But you see Danagorn, he's on the red buff. Watch is just going to simply ward him back away, I think.
He was patrolling there looking for the pink ward from KaBuM, trying to clear it out, but there was no pink ward in the back of the red. Circles back around the dragon, in time with taking the turret, and in time with the teleport now coming off a cooldown of Save. This is all time for a White Shield. Ready for Save, but he has to back up from Aurelia. He's going to come.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage here. Also, watch tanking the dragon. The rest of KaBuM is nearby. They're going in.
Danagorn's going in. He tries to catch on towards it. Goes in, gets the smite down. The hero of Brazil. Danagorn turns it around. Can they turn some of the kills around? Zephyr goes in with the bomb. That's not going to work out for him. Danagorn does finally go down. Tinnos has to flash away from Gung, but nonetheless, a jungler going down for a Dragon Steel would be a great trade here. Gung is not giving up though. He's continued to follow through.
Nice
the binding lands on towards him. The bomb almost killed Gorilla as he walked in there.
Look at the mid lane though here. White Shield can push it down. It will go down for sure. They got every single member from KaBuM so low after the fight. So you're trading now a kill for Dragon and a tower.
Neither top laner got involved in that one. Nonetheless, not a bad trade for KaBuM overall. It could have been much, much worse. Lep versus Save, though, is starting to become a bit of a gulfing class, I feel. 113 CS to 64. Obviously, all developed from that very early play that NaJin White Shield did to set him behind, but there really hasn't been much jungle presence in his top lane. They've let him go towards it, and Lep is just really fighting a massive losing battle right now.
Yeah, Watches kept track of Danagorn pretty much the whole game, and they had some very deep wards early on in that side of the jungle as well to make sure Save scaled up well. Now he's got his rod and his tier fully stacking. It's going to get worse for them from here on out because Corky is going to be able to help them ride straight on through with that Trinity Force. Hashtag KaBuM wins, still going strong.
Absolutely. Big support for KaBuM here, as we often do see for the ranked underdogs. But sadly for them, they are in a very tough group. They're going for Save. In comes Danagorn. Can they 2v1 him? Or is he too strong at this point? They've got a lot of damage down on him. And Danagorn picks up the kill.
Nice setup here. Lep jumping in. He gets the stun onto Save. He did have flash, but he couldn't react in time. KaBuM getting a kill.
Their ward coverage lapses, and Danagorn gets in for the kill. Nice pull-off, but that's just a single kill for KaBuM. Looks like he's going to shove it into the lane at least and get some damage onto the top turret. He hasn't gotten to put much work into it, though, so it's going to be a while before he's able to take it. Save does still have teleport, remember.
Watches roam around the jungle. Tower goes down. Nice work from Lep there. Well, teleport was up for save, but he just didn't get out that death timer quick enough. Minerva trying to trade with Zephyr once again. Danagorn now back down this bottom lane. Watch and KaBuM, though, just above on the screen here. This could well be a 4-man dive from NaJin Whiteshield. They're going to play it right, though. With Tinones there, they've got that chrono shift to help them out. And wisely, NaJin Whiteshield step away.
It would have been an extremely risky dive from NaJin Whiteshield. There's teleport on both top laners as well to join in. But decides to play it safe and back away. And it's often the story for the teams actually facing KaBuM here at the World Championship. They play it very safe in the early game. Don't really want to go too aggressive against KaBuM because they actually respect the fact they can take a lead and snowball.
I mean, that being said, we are seeing the improvements here from KaBuM. The first time that they played NaJin Whiteshield, the game was over in 26 minutes, 39 seconds. But they've kept it even here all the way up till 17:30. So, well on their way to a better mark.
This Ryze, however, is still going to be very scary in the top lane. I mean, it does take a bit of time to scale up, but once he gets to this point, Save can pretty much carry the entire game.
We'll see how it works out. Of course, we've seen overconfidence before from some of these teams. Save, can I come around? I think he's going to ward and spot Dan straight away on top of his head. And Dan's and Danagorn not spotted, Dan's was. So they know that there's a support here, but they don't realize it's a 3v2. And that may well be left trying to bait them in. In come the rest of the team. Gorilla comes around the side. They're not expecting the Dans to come around, though. Doesn't get close enough to get one of those dark bindings on them. And it will be simply a case of who's got the biggest ulti to wipe the wave out.
So as soon as KaBuM actually saw Gorilla in the top lane, they probably expected Zephyr to be there as well, and instantly just backed away because they didn't actually know where he was on the map. And normally he would follow his support when they want to switch up to the top side and you have already killed the bot tower.
So look at Watch. He's been left alone down that bottom lane to get a wave while the AD carry himself, Zephyr, comes around. So looks like they're going to be using him to split push for a while, or at least hold that lane steady. Now Minerva's in there, but it does, of course, give NaJin Whiteshield a lot of time. Lep goes a bit deep on that one. Dodges out of the Aqua Prison. Tinones goes in, takes a blast from Save. And everybody holds onto the turret for now. NaJin Whiteshield again backing away from this one. They don't want to risk a tower dive.
Yep, KaBuM hold top, and again, they've got Minerva down bottom answering the wave shove from Watch, so they get more money funneled into their Tristana. You mentioned NaJin Whiteshield. They've got the late game Ryze, but KaBuM are all about funneling as much money as they can into Minerva. He's already got the Infinity Edge, a couple more items on top of that. Oh no!
He sees him, he's going for it. Can he get down KaBuM? There's a lot of damage going his way. I think that's more than he wished for. Tries to jump away. Rocket jumps out to safety. Fancied the trade though, Minerva.
Yeah.
He was the one that managed to put the Scrying Orb down and spot him out.
I mean, he wanted to fight. He spotted him out and he stayed there and wanted to fight. Didn't just jump away from the start.
I feel like that's a preview of things to come here. Minerva showing that he is not afraid to fight early, and we may see a Tristana hopping into fights here.
Well, he does have the Zillion, so he can be a bit aggressive, but he's still going to need a bit of time before he can take on KaBuM one-on-one.
Something that may be the saving grace for KaBuM, because they're effectively fighting a 6v5. May well just be enough. Lep goes deep once again, goes aggressive onto Save, backs away, doesn't really have the minion wave to get that lifesteal down, and Save pops his ultimate and blasts him away. Dark Binding doesn't land, and NaJin Whiteshield set up for the Dragon.
Let's see here, KaBuM, 4 members down here. Top laners does have teleport. No ulti for Lep, of course. Save should be up fairly soon. But now Whiteshield just keeping the vision control around this dragon and want KaBuM to try and face check them.
And mid-game vision control has been one of the biggest strengths of NaJin Whiteshield in pretty much all of their wins. They've had so many more pink wards and so many more wards cleared than all of the teams that they've been facing.
Yeah, and also one of the reasons they really like this Corki pick is because you are so strong in the mid game. You can take these dragons in the start, get the goal lead you need, and then use that once you get into late game when you have a carry like Ryze in the top lane, get all this global gold in his pockets, and let him just control the game from there.
Blue buff going across the Tinones, finally the bomb goes off. And that will keep him taking over nicely. Fell behind a little bit, of course, because he went for that tier. It will take a while to stack out for him. Meanwhile, Nancy, of course, KaBuM, get the right team, the right country would help. Right lane as well. It's all over the place. He's going for the Rabadon's Death Cap, I feel.
And while again KaBuM is doing a great job actually keeping up in this early game, or early to mid game, NaJin White Shield is a team who is known for the late game power, and they're also known for taking it fairly easy in the early stages of the game and prefer farming and out-rotating the enemy team instead of just straight up kill them in early 5 versus 5s.
Sweeping out the wards. This is the time really where KaBuM have to be decisive, and where NaJin White Shield have absolutely took control over every single team they've faced, including Alliance when they had that 7,000 gold lead. NaJin White Shield absolutely knew what to do at this point. We can see Save all in his own down the bottom. Danagon, oh, that was a Hail Mary of a Sonic Wave thrown out there to try and land on towards Zephyr. Wasn't going to happen though.
Who is going to come down here and answer Save? Because that is a very dangerous prospect right now. Level 13, highest level here for NaJin White Shield. Well, just tied with the other solo laner, no biggie.
It's going to be Minerva for now. He's happy to have those waves pushed into him, I feel. He's just going to get himself that free farm. He's keeping up with Zephyr so far. Save, though, lingering off of the side there. Got to be careful.
Oh, Minerva.
Just a cheeky bounce.
Hashtag KaBuM win.
Well, he's getting all the free farm down his bottom lane. As long as he stays under his own tower, he shouldn't actually die.
No, Danagon doesn't get the reset, doesn't get the hit on it. Had to back away. Tinon's thought about going aggressive there, but comes back around and keeps him away.
Yeah, this is really where NaJin's biggest advantage is. You can see they're constantly trying to push the borders of their vision control into KaBuM's jungle, whereas KaBuM have had a really hard time even getting back up to the river. So that means pretty much all of the objectives are in shield territory, and they've been able to control the easy gold flow of the mid-map objectives.
And it's a scary thing. Every single team so far who faced NaJin White Shield had to realize they will take over your jungle. Top lane, everyone else from KaBuM just backed away, don't want to risk anything up here. Easy tower for White Shield.
Save's going down to block off as well. Minerva in the bottom lane. He has got the support this time with Dance. So we'll see whether Dance can sneak him in. Minerva's going to try and bait him, I think. We'll see whether it works out. The top wave, of course, is being pushed in. NaJin White Shield will take down that turret. Minerva just trying to take a couple more tower hits. Here comes Save on towards him. Black Shield quickly answers. Save doesn't want any of it just yet.
All right, outer turrets traded. Looks like both teams happy with their late game carries here. Minerva versus Save.
I know on paper that's a pretty unfair matchup, but Minerva has really been stepping up during this World Championship here, and the Analyst Desk was talking about it. We have talked about it in every single game. Him and Dance together in this bottom lane has been looking very, very solid.
Plus, if we do get super late game and Triss can get up to that level 18, the extra range is going to do wonders for KaBuM versus this NaJin White Shield team. And it will have to be some flashes in from Save to try and create something. That being said, Save is definitely known for his ability to flank around you and pull off one of those engagements because NaJin White Shield control the wards so well.
Cool. And Co are heading down towards the bottom. They're taking control of the lower half of the jungle. Whoa, Minerva out of position a little bit there. Co takes himself a tower hit, quickly shields that off and blocks all of the damage. But NaJin White Shield, I think they've finally realized this is our time to shine. Oh, Tinones goes too deep, got in the Aqua Prison. Is he going to get the Chrono Shift down in time? Oh, got it! About comes out of the picks in time to get that down. He must have been hammering that Arky.
So much CC from White Shield. The bubble first into the Whimsy. Tidal Wave wasn't used by Gorilla here, so saved one of them at least in case there will be a fight. But once again, White Shield can take the red buff. It is their jungle here. KaBuM only controls their own lanes.
Minerva keeps them away from the tower for now, but it may well be the middle. They're going to rotate through. Goom once again. Oh, they're all out of position here. Tino, no Chrono Shift this time around. He's going to get locked up. Is it going to be enough to heal him out there? Can't so shield through that one. Danagons go deep on it. Oh my lord, he shouldn't be jumping in that strong when your mid laner has just dropped down. And KaBuM, well, they keep them away for now. There's no minion wave, so they're trying to tank it out. Here comes the conga line. Minerva has to clear this one out as quick as possible. He's got himself the static shift, so he should be able to wipe the wave out quickly. Could we see a tower hit towards Zephyr? Lep thought about it for a moment, goes in. Goom just ballsily teleports away and Save. Well, he's getting all the free time in the world on this bottom lane.
Ooh, they are going to collapse down through the jungle, but there's plenty of wards that Shield set up previously, so Save has an exit route. Another minion wave crashes into the turret too, so slowly but surely, Shield chipping away at these turrets, top and, or middle and bottom.
Alright, let's see it again. So Tinnos, he doesn't actually have an ulti here, and he decides to run into KaBuM, so he's in a terrible situation from the start, and very last hit will actually take him down.
Then we have the Danagorn engage, trying to get in there. I believe he was trying to Dragon Kick back, if he still had it. But, once again, flash away. Save him. Here's those river objectives that we're talking about. Covered by the vision from Shield, another easy pickup.
And we just have to notice how White Shield plays with the lead. They will always start slow pushing one lane, and then they will have Save in the other side lane, and then in the mid lane they can have the 4 members. And it simply means every single lane is pushing down. It means you have vision in every single lane as well, and you can just rotate between these towers easily to take them if KaBuM is not ready to defend in time.
Oh, Minerva. Are they going to stick around? They are going to keep pushing. Zephyr's gone up to meet him. I'm not sure if they realize Dan's is off of the side because there is no vision this time around. Are they going to hang around? Are they going to hope? But look at KaBuM, he's collapsing in towards him. Uh-oh, this spells trouble for Minerva. Is he going to back away in time? I think he has. He's got back to face.
Long
was
gone.
close.
Long gone here. I like how Dance is just following Minerva around here. You have this back up Morgana every time.
That just drew 3 members of NaJin White Shield straight towards the top, which has given a bit of free time down the bottom. And look at Danagorn sneaking in towards that. KaBuM also coming around. They're going to try and chase on Tinons. They're drawing him away. 2 members, though, down in this bottom bush. They're going to jump on Save. Is it going to be enough in a 2v1? Has Save powered up enough? That's the question. Danagorn taken low. They don't want to get too near it. They realize the rest of NaJin Shield, they're coming down the river. Tinons comes to join them, but KaBuM have to back away from this one. In goes Watch on towards left. Left tries to turn it back around. They get the Chrono Shift on towards him. Save locks on. That's going to be Danagorn going down. And NaJin White Shield claps perfectly to close out the kill.
So you said they were going down for this sneaky gank bottom, but look at this cheeky ward in the little bush up by the secondary turret from Shield. They saw him going to the lane.
Oh, Dans cannot get away from that one. Zephyr comes around the side, picks himself up. Another kill, or the first one on the board for him. Now they also have a wave to take down the turret. So not only do they get the 2 kills, they get themselves a big, juicy inner tower.
Yeah, we see the death timers already being about the 30-second mark, because we're actually 29 minutes into the game. Not been a lot of action, but just been a lot of objectives taken by Shield and KaBuM as well, trying to respond with towers every single time they had the chance. Instantly, though, 2 towers fall in favor of White Shield.
That's the problem. Once they do fall, they're set up like dominoes, and just NaJin White Shield tumble them across the board. They're all going to go back, got themselves a chunk of gold, get themselves that step ahead in items with that 6,500 gold lead.
And that is just the hard part again. When you're playing against Shield, if you lose one fight, you know every single lane is going to be pushed up to your tower. So you saw them take this bot lane tower, instantly the new mid lane was open, just walk straight in there, kill another tower, and they punish you so hard if you get caught out of position and lose a team fight.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for KaBuM right now. They're losing so much map control. That they do have a Morgana on their team, and when we saw upsets, a lot of them were off of support plays, a thresh hook, catching a key member of the opposing team off guard. If KaBuM get some sort of strong roam with the numbers advantage, and they hit one of these key bindings, there is still that hope that they can catch somebody, kill a carry, come back into the game.
I mean, they have some good single target bursts. You have Aurelia, you have Tristana here. You can take down a target very, very fast. And Dance has been pretty on point with his binding so far. Just not been able to do it in terms of a team fight. It's been more just him and Minerva running together.
Yeah, and as we've been over several times, Dance, you know, that shot caller, moving from AD carry down to support. If they are going to group up and try and make a play off one of these bindings, he's the one to make the call.
Saw Frozen Heart being stacked up by Save. Dan's being chased on. Lieutenants are going to try and turn this one around. KaBuM's the focus. Have they got enough? Danagorn just locked up there.
Uh-oh, here
Chrono
comes
Shift is
Zephyr.
going to come out, but I'm not too sure he can safeguard to anyone. He tries desperately to come away. Flash the wave catches 3 members of KaBuM. Zephyr comes around the side, gets 1, gets 2, tries to chase on towards the 3rd, on towards Dance. Dance taken so low, he maybe get dropped here. One more shot, there's the triple. He continues through, gets himself the quadra kill. A great style for Zephyr.
Yep, and that is going to be an inhibitor turret and the inhibitor here for NaJin White Shield. NaJin White Shield, they get into the base, doors wide open.
Maybe even more here. I mean, can it take a Nexus turret as well? There's still 20 seconds. for KaBuM here. Otherwise, we can see Watching just go straight for Baron.
Well, they've got the big wave. They are going to back away. It is going to be the Baron, it seems, as they run straight towards there. Everybody's pretty much topped off in health, and of course, a whole stack of ultimates left because it was Zephyr that just single-handedly ran through the team.
Yeah, Gorilla with a huge Nami wave. 3 knockups, interrupting 2 jumps. Great catch there for Shield.
So Baron goes down. NaJin White Shield turn on the power. And this has been their power really. Once they hit that 20-25 minute mark, they just take control of the map. And it seems teams are helpless. Danagon once again out of position this time. He's in trouble. Save, gets kicked, tries to use it. No! One last save will take him down.
Fancy moves though by Danagon here. White Shield should probably just go back and spend all the gold they have. I mean, they got some towers, they got the Baron, they won the last team fight. There's some very, very fit members on this White Shield team.
All right, let's take another look at this. They had Goong in what they thought was a good position here, but 4 members. And because they focus all this onto Danagon and they get the Zillion ult out, by the time Zephyr arrives, it's pretty much cleanup duty here. This time around, it's Zephyr flanking and not Save. And he actually is the one diving forward to pick up an extra kill with that red buff. Oh, there it is.
That's a flash for it. But that wave was absolutely impeccable by Gorilla. The fact that he was around the side as well, he wasn't even close to being involved in the fight. He just knew the length that ultimate would run and just saw the devastation that it would pull on towards them. KaBuM, they can't defend this turret. They have to back away because Gorilla and Watch are flanking around the sides.
Yeah, I think Gorilla definitely deserves that Medjais after that play. Ooh, whoa, he's done.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, the shield. Oh, still not enough. Zephyr just burns through in that red buff. Doing work. Zephyr honestly has been impeccable in this group. We saw yesterday, of course, he picked up their 16 kills. He's going in once again. Soul Shackles from Dance. He doesn't care about that one. Forces them away from the inhibitor turret. And that is the second one that will tumble. And NaJin White Shield now, they are just driving through KaBuM's base.
It's just like what you guessed yesterday on Corki as well. I mean, you can almost 1v5 the game when you become so fit on Corki. Let's see what he can do. Down to this bottom lane. Save might want to join the party.
Absolutely. That's going to be the 3rd inhibitor turret of the game. I think right now KaBuM are simply spectators in this game. Just figuring out how exactly it all went wrong, because at the 17.5 minute mark, he said it was just 100 gold differential between the two, but just the teams know exactly what to do at that moment. We talked about the power spike from Save as well. That was imminent danger for KaBuM. With these Nexus turrets and super minions coming on through, it seems that NaJin White Shield, with the wave rolling on through, will close out this game. The Nexus is the final thing to fall. KaBuM forced onto the fountain. They are being driven away by the Korean powerhouse. The number 3 seed, NaJin White Shield, are looking incredible in the group phase.
Oh yeah, they deserve to be at the top of the table in this group. Still haven't dropped a game here. And we got to see, us and KaBuM, firsthand, the impeccable ward coverage from that mid-game, how they push it up step by step, take objective after objective, switching between outer turrets whenever there's an opening.
It's all about their slow pushing of the minions, and every single time you push in one lane, you know you can quickly go to the next lane, you take the minions, go straight to the tower, and it is so hard to play against for every single team right here. It's not just KaBuM. I mean, Alliance have lost to White Shield, Cloud9 lost to White Shield as well. They are just a great team, and once they get the lead, they won't let go.
Problem is, who do you ban? Because they went for Thresh, they went to the Janna like, Gorilla, we're going to take you out of this game. No, 0-0-10 Nami, excellent wave control, brilliant ultimate, non-stop, and the rest of the team, you know, you look towards Save in the top lane. We always knew he was going to be powering up on that Rise. He's shown once again, that's the 3rd victory on Rise now in the group stage, but he's got so many champions to fall back on as well. It's a really tricky decision to find those 3 bans. You kind of want 10.
Well, if we had 10 bans, it would be quite a boring game at least.
I could open things up, who knows?
I mean, that would be some new picks.
We've got plenty of champions.
Heimerdinger would.
Don't worry, we've got plenty of champions.
For sure. I do miss the Donger, I have to admit it.
So what do we make of these? I mean, NaJin White Shield, they're looking unstoppable right now, but Cloud9 and Alliance have to face them. Alliance will be against them in the final game of the day, and really, they need to pick up a win there. Is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, Alliance, they have a lot of things to look at from the first match with Shield because, honestly, that was one of the closest games. They pushed Shield the furthest of any of the teams in this group. They had a good mid-game push. They had an opening there, but there were a couple key mistakes that Alliance needed to improve on, which, of course, were those mid-game vision control where they got caught out a couple times and they gave some kills over to the late-game Tristana. But, honestly, that is a repairable matchup for Alliance, I think.
And sticking with that vein, we just saw KaBuM getting up towards the 18-19 minute mark and staying pretty even in gold with NaJin White Shield. Is this really going to be a potential banana skin for Cloud9 or Alliance?
I feel like, again, you have to win the early game, as we saw Alliance do, and then you just have to keep your wards down, like Kobe just pointed out, and that's how you can take the game against White Shield. If you let them get the lead, if you let them get the pick... Oh, against KaBuM, sorry.
Against KaBuM, because KaBuM just traded pretty evenly for 20 minutes there. And we've seen teams slip up when they get to that stage.
Yeah, that's why teams play so safe in the early game against KaBuM, because they don't want to risk falling behind in the laning phase, because they have shown they are solid laners. They have some good mechanics on their players, and if you play over-aggressive, it might bite you.
Yeah, it's what we've heard from Froggen from the last time they played them. Is like, just play it safe, guys, play it safe. That's all we've got to do. For now, though, we're going to get over towards the analyst desk for more insight into NaJin White Shield's victory.
Thank you very much, D-Man. I must admit, I love the banana peel reference. However, it would have to be a King Kong-sized banana for Shield to slip on that one. Yes, I do think KaBuM have got strong laners. We are beating a dead horse whenever we say this. Mid lane, AD carry support, they do well. Lep fell behind, unfortunately, and the lane swap right at the beginning didn't help them, Monty.
No, I think that was a very favorable lane swap situation. When you get the Ryze Nami lane together, a Ryze with a range support, and then you have Corki as well, who's going to be really just scaling very well on levels alone. And even though they got that early advantage, Nami left too early, died. And then the most puzzling thing about that game for me, and probably and I were raging about this a little, was that Shield, basically they got a Trinity Force power spike onto Corki. They had this level advantage, and then they kept sending Save into the top lane instead of just letting him farm at bottom lane and just pushing the tower. It was kind of dumb.
The Trinity Force power spike was so Corki could just run around the map faster.
Right.
That had to be it. I think we
more
solved
playmaking on the AD carry.
Well, talking about the AD carry, we actually have a fantastic replay that really just summarizes the game. I feel like Shield were playing patient, playing low risk. Roll this clip out and then probably talk us through, what Zephyr was doing that stood out in Gorilla as well.
Well, Goong's already starting this out right now, and at this point, they're just trying to pick and kill someone. Nami gets a really, really sick wave, and if you see Corki starting to come in from the side, and he has all of Lulu's skills to use at his disposal, so he's about to just run in there and start cleaning up the fight now that Zilean ult's down, and now it's kind of up to him to, land his ults, which are gigantic at this point, and then, be a man and flash for that kill.
Gorilla ended up getting, I think, a 4-man knockup with that wave.
Yeah.
Really picking the angle correctly on the retreat from KaBuM.
Well, not only that, but predicting that the W would be off cooldown in that time frame as well when the Lee Sin revived, and then also knocking Tristana out of rocket jump. It was just an incredibly good wave.
So double lift after the quadra kill, AD carry, Shield. What's your take on the game?
I just thought maybe the game would have been different if KaBuM hadn't picked Lee Sin, because Danagorn's mechanics, honestly, that game were not up to standard. And Lee Sin's a very mechanic-focused jungler, alongside like Thresh as support. If you're not on top of your game and you can't get those insects, then there's really no point to pick Lee Sin. And you saw that quad kill was really started because Danagorn was so out of position that they had to blow Zilean ulti on him, and he still died after. So it was just, I feel like if you're not on top of your mechanic game, you shouldn't be picking champions like Lee Sin.
Yeah, it didn't work out for them. All right, let's quickly take a look at the standings before we move on to the last 2 games of the day, because they will be particularly telling. Freak, we've been running the numbers. NaJin Shield now 1 step closer. We've got 2 very, very big games coming up. OMG versus Samsung Blue, as well as Alliance versus NaJin Shield. If NaJin Shield win that game, they're guaranteed a spot in quarters.
Yeah, as soon as NaJin Shield gets a 5th win, they are guaranteed 1st place as well. But basically, both Alliance and Cloud9, they're basically just going to be playing KaBuM and NaJin White Shield, my understanding. So you still have that potential 2-4, 2-4, 2-4, or Alliance and Cloud9 going 4-2, 4-2, 4-2 against NaJin White Shield.
Gonna be very, very interesting. Samsung Blue, of course, coming up against OMG. OMG going to have to figure out a few things to get right. Before we talk about that game, let's check in with our Twitter question of the day. Earlier, we asked you guys which player has been the biggest star in the Singapore group stage. It's an impossible question, and why? Here's what you've had to say. First one is from Okay, I'm going to try this. Striker Eureka. The highest star can only be high. Great CS and holding his own against the best. Massive improvement. Prolly, you're the mid laner. Yes or no?
Yeah, I think High stepped up a lot. The only thing that I would say is the only weak point of High is his champion pool, but his play is pretty stellar.
Next up, we have from @Dirian Archer. I feel Gorilla has done remarkably well for NaJin White Shield so far. Crims is 100% right. His Thresh is absolutely bananas. That's the banana that D-Man was talking about, Monty.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. If we want to talk about the player who's been consistent throughout all of these games, even when we saw Shield get behind against Alliance, it was his picks, his hooks that got them back in the game. He's just been the most consistent player so far, and his team is 4-0 because of it.
I completely agree. I think he's phenomenal. Next one from @ForestForest4. Control feed that one. Reckless is really making a name for himself by not showing any fear against the biggest of names. And Doublelift, Reckless has really stepped up.
Yeah, Reckless has been playing fantastic. He actually only had one game where I felt like he might have been able to do better. His first game against OMG, but after that, he did really well against Deft. Over 100 CS against considered possibly tied for best AD carry in Korea, along with Imp. He went over 100 CS ahead. So this guy's amazing. He got a pentakill earlier today. He's just on top of his game.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he performs tomorrow. And finally from @ScottPantera. My mom, because she lets me stay up late to watch World's Freak. You're the only one that hasn't chimed in about Pantera's mom. Do you know if she's OP?
That's a weird question to ask me. I was debating whether to make any mom jokes or not, and now you just set them up for me. She seems wonderful. I mean, if you get to stay up and watch League, it's wonderful. I believe it's hard. It is Saturday now, so at the very least, you probably don't have anything you have to like get up for in the morning. So big props to everyone who's using their Saturday to watch
She's a nice
League.
lady.
I have to apologize to Freak. That was my bad. I didn't need to set you up that way.
I had no idea where to go with that.
Actually, thank you to all the moms and dads who are letting their kids watch, and thank you for everyone tuning in. Right, thank you for sending your tweets to us. Remember, you can stay in the conversation throughout the World Championship by sending tweets to @LOL Esports. Use the hashtag Worlds, and we'll be talking about your mom on air. We're going to rebel off the riff for a moment, and when we drop back, China's OMG will face Samsung Blue. Don't miss it.
Tries to catch on towards it, goes in, gets the smite down! Very tough group, they're going for save. In comes Danagon, can they 2v1 him? Or is he too strong at this point? They've got a lot of damage down on him. Dan's taken so low, he maybe get dropped here. One more shot, there's the triple. He continues through, gets himself the quadra kill.